They said the blood would settle, that after the howls faded and the last Titan fell, silence would reclaim the pines of Wisconsin. They spoke of peace, of a war concluded beneath a sky stained by a blood moon horror. But the earth remembers, every drop spilled. It remembers the rage, the fear, the essence of the werewolf curse and the dogman's fury. I thought for a time I could chronicle a simple end to that brutal chapter, a mere recounting of the clash between ancient foes. But you need to understand the war you heard whispers of, that savage dance of tooth and claw in this cryptid horror story. That was never the true apocalypse. It was merely the overture. The real terror was, and always has been, breeding in, the dark, silent soil waiting. This isn't just a tale of a werewolf versus dogman. It's an account of what came after, what festered in the wounds of the world. For centuries, the legends spoke of the first blood war, of an alpha werewolf whose death poisoned the very ground it fell upon. Its cursed blood, potent and ancient, didn't just soak into the dirt, it fed something that slept and dreamt and grew. They called it the Bloodroot, a myth, a whisper amongst the oldest Wisconsin legends, a parasitic fungal network, they said, that tasted the power of the lycanthrope and craved more. Now the war has fed it anew. Every drop of spilled cryptid blood, every echo of agony, has been a feast. The Bloodroot, once a slumbering horror, now stirs with a sentient hunger, its crimson tendrils questing through the ravaged earth, seeking to rewrite life itself. This is the story of Werewolf versus Dogman, the Curse Reborn. It's a tale of lycanthrope infection taking on forms unimagined, of werewolf transformation horror twisted into something new, something that defies the old laws of monster and man, a supernatural thriller carved from the bones of a dead forest and the marrow of a dying hope. The air hangs thick with the metallic tang of old blood and the acrid scent of perpetual burning. Ash, gray and soft as death's shroud, coats everything. Skeletal pine trees, blackened and brittle, clawed a bruised twilight sky. The ground, a churned morass of mud and cinder, bears the deep gouges and impact craters of a titanic struggle, the aftermath of the recent cryptid war. But beneath, the ash life of a grotesque sort pulses, faint, bioluminescent fungi, the color of arterial blood, trace intricate patterns on fallen logs and push through the soot. They glow with an unsettling, internal light, casting long, dancing shadows. A cursed mist, heavy and cloying, clings to the forest floor, swirling around skeletal trunks like damned souls. Amidst this desolation, Jack, 30s haggard, clothes torn and bloodied, stumbles. He's an infected survivor, though the nature of his infection is yet unknown to him. His face is a mask of pain, confusion, and a deep, gnawing unease. He clutches a raw, hastily bandaged wound on his arm, a wound that throbs with more than just physical injury. He stops, listening. The forest is too quiet, yet not silent. There's a subaudible hum, a vibration that seems to resonate from the ground itself, felt more in the bones than heard with the ears. It's the whisper of the Bloodroot, a fungal horror beginning its symphony. Jack's eyes, wild and bloodshot, scan the ruins. He's searching for something, or someone, or perhaps just a reason. The emotional themes of unease, dread, and loss of identity are etched onto his weary face. He is a relic of a war, knowingly standing on the precipice of a new, more insidious one. The ancestral bloodline horror that defined the cryptids is now facing a creature evolution it never anticipated. He doesn't know it yet, but the soil beneath his boots is the true enemy. The past infects the present, and Jack, marked by the violence of this place, is about to become the epicenter of its monstrous rebirth. He is a hybrid horror monster in the making, a testament to a monstrous inheritance. If you're still listening, if the silence of this place hasn't yet claimed your curiosity, lean closer, for the whispers are just beginning, and what they promise will either save you or consume you. Stay with this hybrid beast story. There's more blood to be spilled, before the roots have had their fill. Jack pushes deeper into the desolation, each step an effort. The air grows colder, the red glow of the fungi more pronounced, casting his shadow long and distorted against the charred trees. He calls out, his voice hoarse. Jack calls for Alara, Ben, anyone. Only the sigh of the wind through the dead pines answers, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and something else. Something sickly sweet, like overripe fruit mixed with decay. This sensory horror pricks at his senses. An early off moment. He stumbles upon a clearing. In its center, a dogman lies sprawled, its massive form still, fur matted with black blood and something else, crimson, root-like tendrils, no thicker than veins, sprout from its wounds, pulsing faintly with the same light as the fungi. They seem to be growing from the creature, anchoring it to the earth. This is the first horror clue. Jack recoils, a knot of dread tightening in his stomach. He's seen death in every horrific permutation during the war. Torn flesh, shattered bone. But this is new. This is wrong. A cryptid mutation he doesn't recognize. The Bloodroot does not discriminate. Werewolf, Dogman, lichen, all are but vessels for its ancient hunger, tinder for its cursed flame. The lycanthrope infection they carried was merely a primer for this deeper, more pervasive corruption. Jack approaches cautiously. The tendrils twitch. He notices similar smaller growths on nearby fallen branches, even on patches of seemingly untouched earth. The forest transformation is accelerating. He remembers fragments, the final battle beneath the blood moon horror, the screams, the tearing. He remembers a pain that wasn't just claws or teeth, but something invasive. He looks at his own bandaged arm. A dark stain is spreading through the cloth, and beneath it, a strange itching heat. The fear of transformation begins to coil within him. Suddenly, a low growl, not from the dead dogman. Jack spins, heart hammering. From the shadows of the dense, mist-choked tree line, two pairs of eyes gleam, not the familiar gold of a werewolf or the fiery red of a dogman. These are milky, vacant, yet burning with a cold, unthinking rage. Two figures shamble forward. Once they might have been werewolves, their silhouettes vaguely lupine. But now, their fur is patchy, sloughing off to reveal skin crisscrossed with the same glowing red veins as the dogman. Their bodies are twisted, elongated in some places, atrophied in others. Hollowborn, the first of the Bloodroot's puppets. These are the echoes, the Hollowborn, creatures stripped of their will, animated by the Bloodroot's burgeoning consciousness. They are the first fruits of the fungal horror, a terrifying glimpse of the creature evolution underway. The Hollowborn move with a jerky, unnatural gait, driven by a singular alien imperative. They don't howl or snarl with the passion of their former kind. They emit a wet, rasping hiss, the sound of air forced through corrupted lungs. Jack backs away, his hand instinctively going to a jagged piece of metal he carries as a makeshift weapon. There's no recognition in their eyes, no remnant of the warrior spirits they once were. This is a new kind of enemy, born from the very essence of the werewolf curse, but perverted, twisted. The initial mystery of what happened after the war is rapidly giving way to a horrifying new threat. The forest isn't just dead, it's being reborn as something monstrous. And Jack, an infected survivor, realizes he's not just lost, but hunted. The unease he felt is crystallizing into raw terror. He is alone, wounded, and the very ground he stands on is turning against him, birthing horrors from the graves of his enemies and perhaps soon his allies. The foreshadowing of the true threat is no longer subtle. The Bloodroot is making its presence known, not through whispers yet, but through its grotesque creations. The stakes are rising, and Jack's desperate search for other survivors is becoming a desperate bid for his own survival against an enemy he cannot comprehend. The Wisconsin legends never spoke of this. The last vestiges of twilight surrender to a suffocating darkness, pierced only by the crimson glow of the Bloodroot fungi. The mist thickens, swirling like a living entity. Jack is running, the rasping hisses of the Hollowborn echoing behind him. His breath comes in ragged gasps, the wound on his arm burning with an unnatural fire. This is transformation horror at its most intimate and terrifying. Fear is a potent catalyst. It sharpens the senses, floods the blood with fire. But in this, forest fear also feeds the whispers. The Bloodroot tastes it, savors it, uses it to weave its way into the minds of the vulnerable. Jack stumbles, falling hard. The impact jars his wounded arm, and a cry of pain escapes him. He scrambles behind a massive charred log, pressing himself against the damp, ash-covered bark. The Hollowborn crash through the undergrowth nearby, their movements disturbingly, uncoordinated yet relentless. He presses a hand to his mouth, trying to stifle his ragged breathing. It's then he hears it, not with his ears, but inside his head. A voice. So much pain, so much loss. You are alone, little spark. Wounded, fading. Jack flinches, looking around wildly. There's no one. The voice is intimate, coiling around his thoughts like a serpent. The psychological horror element intensifies. They are all gone, the strong, the proud, all dust and echoes. But you still burn, such potential. The whispers intensify the emotional themes of loss of identity and ancestral guilt. Jack shakes his head, trying to dislodge the insidious voice. This is not grief. This is an invasion. A Hollowborn sniffs the air, its head cocked, milky eyes scanning the darkness. It's close, too close. Jack's heart pounds against his ribs like a trapped bird. The war, such a waste. Such beautiful rage, spilled for nothing. But it doesn't have to be the end. It can be a beginning. Your beginning. Jack's wound throbs, in sync with the voice, a burning, itching heat spreading up his arm, veins now faintly visible beneath his skin, glowing a dull red. The lycanthrope infection, or whatever this is progressing. He feels a strange pull, a dark current of power mixed with profound unease. One of the Hollowborn lets out a frustrated hiss and moves on, its attention drawn by a flicker of movement. Deeper in the woods, perhaps an animal or another unfortunate soul. The immediate danger passes, but the internal siege has just begun. The mythos of the Bloodroot is simple. It offers power in exchange for self. It tempts with promises of ending pain, of vengeance, of dominion. It preys on the broken, the grieving, the ambitious. The monstrous inheritance it offers is a gilded cage. Jack pushes himself up, his body screaming in protest. He needs to find shelter, needs to understand what's happening to him, to the forest. He recalls old tales, fragments of fireside stories from pack elders, tales of the haunted forest church, a place spoken of in hushed, fearful tones. A place where the original lines were drawn, where the first curses took root. The legends said it was buried, lost. But if the Bloodroot is stirring, perhaps its heart is stirring too. He pushes on, driven by a desperate hope that understanding the source of this fungal horror might offer a way to fight it. The forest itself seems to writhe around him. Roots, thicker now, pulse with red light, sometimes twitching as he passes. The very air feels charged, pregnant with unseen spores. The forest transformation is not just visual, it's tactile, oppressive. He finds a small, dilapidated hunter's shack, barely standing. Inside, it's damp and smells of mildew and something else. That sweet, cloying scent of the Bloodroot. On a decaying table, a leather-bound journal lies open, its pages brittle and water-stained. He picks it up with trembling hands. The script is archaic, the ink faded. It speaks of the old ones, of the blood schism, and of a guardian lineage meant to protect the balance. It mentions the werewolf curse not as a singular affliction, but as one of many expressions of a deeper, primal energy. It also describes early encounters with a creeping red death in the soil, a cryptid mutation that consumed beasts from within. A particular passage chills him to the bone. The root whispers of union. It seeks to bind all flesh to its will, to create a chorus of the damned. Beware those who listen too closely, for their song will become its song. As Jack reads, the voice in his head returns, softer this time, almost sympathetic. Knowledge, yes, seek it. Understand what you are becoming. Not an end, but an evolution. A hybrid beast story for a new age. Jack slams the journal shut, his hand flying to his throbbing arm. The red veins are more prominent, a lattice of fire beneath his skin. He feels a surge of alien strength, quickly followed by a wave of dizziness and nausea. The fear of transformation is acute, visceral. He's losing himself piece by piece. The rules are changing. The ancient animosities of Werewolf versus Dogman are becoming irrelevant. A new power is rising, one that seeks to absorb all others. Jack stands at the precipice, the whispers promising power, the infection promising oblivion or apotheosis. He looks out the grimy window of the shack. The red glow of the forest seems to beckon him deeper. He knows, with a certainty that terrifies him, that he must find that haunted forest church. It's either the source of salvation or the heart of his damnation. But as he stares into the crimson-lit woods, a new sound reaches him. Not the hiss of the Hollowborn, but a deep, guttural howl. A howl of primal rage and immense power, a sound that chills him even more than the whispers. It's an alpha's howl, but twisted, ancient, and utterly devoid of anything but fury. An echo alpha, perhaps, one of the old warlords, reanimated by the Bloodroot's rage. The forest isn't just birthing puppets, it's resurrecting its champions remade in its image. The echo alpha's howl reverberates through the scorched pines, a sound of pure ancestral bloodline horror given new, terrifying life. Jack freezes, the journal slipping from his nerveless fingers. This isn't just another Hollowborn. This is something far more dangerous, a resurrected nightmare from the Wisconsin legends. The Bloodroot doesn't just puppet the recently fallen, it reaches back into the blood-soaked annals of the Cryptid Wars, reanimating the rage of bygone alphas. These echo alphas are its generals, its avatars of destruction, imbued with centuries of fury and the root's unholy power. Jack knows he can't stay. The shack offers no protection against such a foe. He has to move to find the haunted forest church. It's his only hope, a desperate gamble. He bursts out of the shack, plunging back into the crimson-lit nightmare. The echo alpha's howls guide him paradoxically. He moves away from the sound, deeper into an unfamiliar part of the forest where the Bloodroot's influence seems even stronger. The ground beneath his feet feels spongy, alive, thick, pulsating. Roots, like exposed arteries, crisscross his path. The whispers in his head intensify, no longer just seductive but demanding. Fleeing from what could be yours, that power, that rage. It resonates within you, doesn't it, Marked One? Marked One, Jack mutters, stumbling over a gnarled root. The term sends a shiver down his spine, a chilling echo of forgotten prophecies he'd dismissed as old pack lore. Prophecies of a being who would walk the line between worlds, destined to either end the cycle of violence or become its ultimate expression, a hybrid horror monster unlike any other. He reaches a ravine on the other side, half swallowed by the earth, and a grotesque proliferation of glowing red roots stands the skeletal ruin of an old stone structure. A steeple, choked with crimson vines, pierces the oppressive canopy. The haunted forest church. Its presence is a beacon of both hope and profound dread. Here lies the heart of the werewolf curse, the altar upon which the first blood pacts were made, and where the slain alpha's essence first mingled with the nascent bloodroot. This is the nexus. But as Jack prepares to find a way across, a figure detaches itself from the shadows near the church entrance. It's not a Hollowborn, nor an Echo Alpha. It's Ilara, 30s, a fierce Dogman warrior, her fur streaked with gray, eyes burning with a desperate light. She's wounded, leaning heavily on a spear, but her stance is defiant. She was one of the few dogmen who fought for a truce before the final battle. Jack yells, "Ilara!" Ilara turns, her expression hardening as she sees him. She raises her spear, though her arm trembles. Ilara says, "Stay back, werewolf, or whatever you're becoming, I can smell it on you." The rot. Jack stops. The rot? Ilara, what's happening? The forest. These creatures. Ilara says it's the Bloodroot, an ancient poison. The elders warned of it, said the wars would wake it. It feeds on our blood, our hate. It's taking us, Jack. Twisting us. Look at yourself. Jack looks down at his arm. The sleeve is torn away. The red root-like veins are no longer just visible. They are protruding slightly like thin crimson wires woven into his flesh. They pulse with a faint inner light. The werewolf transformation horror is accelerating into uncharted territory. He feels a strange symbiosis, a horrifying new strength coursing through him. Ilara is pointing with her spear, not at him, But past him, it's not just the dead it's taking. It whispers to the survivors, offers them release, power. Some dogmen, some of your own pack, and they chose it. They became Hollowborn willingly. The betrayal stings Jack more than any physical wound. His own kind, succumbing to this fungal horror, the corrupted legacy of their bloodlines. Ilara says, the prophecies, the old reunification scrolls, they spoke of one who would carry the marks of both wolf and dog, yet be neither, one touched by the root but not consumed. The Sulam, the bridge, or the breaker. Your scent, it's changing. It's both and something else. Jack feels a profound shift within him. The whispers of the Bloodroot surge not with temptation but with recognition. Yes, the convergence, the potential. You are the key, marked one, the one to inherit it all. This is the twist. Jack is not merely an infected survivor. He is something more, something pivotal. The ancestral bloodline horror that coursed through werewolves and dogmen is now meeting a new terrifying force within him. He is the living embodiment of the hybrid beast story the Bloodroot wishes to write. The plot hook. What if the only one who could stop the curse was the one becoming the new alpha? Snaps into sharp focus. His narrative goal is no longer just survival, but understanding and confronting this terrible destiny. Ilara lowers, her spear slightly, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes. Fear, yes, but also a desperate, almost forgotten hope. Ilara says there was a hidden chamber beneath the church altar. My grandmother spoke of it. A place where the first ones tried to sever the root's hold long ago. Maybe the answer is there. To fight it. Or to understand what you are. She gestures to a barely visible, decaying satchel at her feet. Ellerai found this near one of our old shrines. Notes from before everything. Inside the satchel, amongst crumbling scrolls, is a hastily scrawled note on a piece of dried hide. It reads, "The whispers spread, the earth bleeds red. If you decipher this warning, if you're still fighting the song of the deep, share this truth. Let others know what awakens. Leave your mark in the ashes of this world, a sign that not all are lost to the cryptid mutation. Do it now, before the forest claims your voice too." The stakes have irrevocably changed. Jack is not just fighting for his life, but for his soul, and perhaps the soul of what remains of their warring kinds. The Echo Alpha's howls draw closer, a soundtrack to their desperate alliance. Ilara, despite her suspicion, sees the unique horror of Jack's forest transformation as perhaps their only slim chance. Ilara says, "We have to go, now. That thing, it will sense you, your change. It will be drawn to it like a moth to a blood flame." Jack nods, his mind reeling from the revelation. The marked one, a bridge or a breaker. The loss of identity is terrifying, yet a strange resolve begins to harden within him. He is part of this cryptid horror story in a way he never imagined. They find a treacherous path down into the ravine, roots and loose stones making the descent perilous. The air grows heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth, decay, and the overwhelming, sweet-sick perfume of the bloodroot. The crimson glow from the haunted forest church above, and from the network of roots infesting the ravine walls, is almost blinding. The descent is symbolic. Jack is not just moving into a physical structure, but deeper into the heart of the werewolf curse, into the maw of the fungal horror. Each step takes him further from the man he was, and closer to the hybrid horror monster he is becoming, though whispers in Jack's head are a constant chorus now, a maddening symphony of promises, threats, and ancient memories that aren't his own. The Bloodroot is actively trying to sway him, to claim him. They fear you, marked one, both sides. They always fear what they cannot control. But I understand. I offer control, true power. Embrace what you are, become the alpha of alphas. End their petty squabbles, unite them under the red. Jack grits his teeth, fighting the allure in its voice. The fear of transformation wars with a burgeoning dark power that feels almost natural. His senses are hyper-acute. He can feel the thrum of the bloodroot in the earth, taste the spores in the air, see the flow of energy through the crimson veins in his own arms, which now possess a disturbing, root-like texture. They reach the base of the church. The stone walls are crumbling, almost entirely overgrown with massive pulsating roots that seem to be the building's new foundation. The main entrance is a gaping maw, dark and unwelcoming. Suddenly, Hollowborn, 2 werewolves and 1 dogman, their forms horribly twisted by the cryptid mutation, emerge from the church entrance. Their movements are more fluid than the ones Jack encountered earlier, faster, more predatory. The Bloodroot is learning, adapting, refining its puppets. Ilara says, they guard it, the heart. Ilara lets out a defiant roar, more animal than Dogman, and charges, her spear a blur. She's weakened, but her warrior spirit burns bright. Jack, his instinct screaming, unleashes a guttural snarl that is neither human nor pure werewolf. His bandaged arm, now almost entirely a lattice of hardened, glowing red tendrils, smashes into one of the Hollowborn werewolves, sending it flying. The strength is astonishing, terrifying. The fight is brutal and desperate. Ilara fights with the ferocity of her lineage, but she's outmatched. Jack is a whirlwind of uncontrolled power, his movements a strange, terrifying blend of werewolf, agility, and something else, something rooted, powerful. He feels the ancestral bloodline horror of his werewolf side, but it's now amplified, twisted by the monstrous inheritance of the Bloodroot. One of the Hollowborn dogmen lunges for Ilara. Jack intercepts his transforming hand, morphing, fingers elongating into root-like claws that tear through the creature's corrupted flesh. The Bloodroot whispers approval, a surge of dark pleasure. Yes, feel it. The true nature of survival. Blood begets transformation. They fight their way through the entrance, into the nave of the ruined church. The interior is a gigeresque nightmare. Massive roots spiral up the walls, converging on the shattered altar at the far end. The air is thick with glowing red spores that dance like malevolent fireflies. This is the creature evolution in its most terrifying nursery. The consequences of the midpoint twist are immediate. Jack is no longer just a survivor. He's a weapon, a focal point. He is pushed to the edge, his humanity fraying with every monstrous act, every surge of alien power. The Bloodroot itself is the new antagonist. Its influence pervasive, its creations relentless. As they defeat the last of the Hollowborn guards, Ilara slumps against a crumbling pillar, breathing heavily. Ilara says, "Altar. The passage should be beneath it, but Jack, if we go down there, there might be no coming back. Especially for you." Jack looks at his hands. One is still mostly human, though scarred and bloody. The other is a grotesque sculpture of wood, vein and claw glowing with crimson light. The supernatural thriller is escalating towards its horrifying core. His internal struggle is now externalized in his very form. He is becoming the hybrid beast story. The confrontation is set. The escape, attempt if any, will be from the clutches of the Bloodroot itself, and from the destiny it has laid out for him. The silence in the nave is heavy, broken only by their ragged breathing and the constant, insidious hum of the Bloodroot. The red spores drift, coating everything in a fine, shimmering dust. Ilara pushes herself upright, her gaze fixed on the shattered altar, now a throne of pulsating roots. Ilara said, "The old text said the first ones tried to starve it, to seal it away. They failed. It was too deeply entwined. Even then, Jack feels an irresistible pull towards the altar, a grotesque parody of a sacred summons. The unease he's felt since waking has transformed into a terrifying certainty. His destiny lies below. The loss of identity is almost complete, replaced by a primal understanding of the Bloodroot's design. This is the precipice, the moment where the theme blood begets transformation. Violence mutates what survives, crystallizes. Jack is the living proof. The werewolf transformation horror he's experiencing is the ultimate creature evolution, a horrifying synthesis. Together, they heave aside a massive, root-choked slab of stone beneath the altar, revealing a dark, narrow staircase spiraling down into the earth. The air that wafts up is cold, ancient and thick with the concentrated scent of the fungal horror. Ilara places her hand on Jack's human arm. Whatever happens, Jack, remember who you were. Fight for that. Jack nods, but the man he was feels like a distant dream. He takes the lead, his transformed arm lighting the way with its eerie crimson glow. Ilara follows, spear ready, her courage a small, defiant flame against the overwhelming darkness. The stairs descend into a vast subterranean chamber. This is the true haunted forest church, the original sanctum. The walls are not stone, but a dense living tapestry of bloodroot, all pulsing with a deep, rhythmic crimson light. In the center of the chamber, the roots converge into a colossal, brain-like mass, the heart of the bloodroot. It's a monstrous, sentient organ of wood, fungus, and captured bioluminescence easily 30 feet across. Veins thicker than a man's torso snake out from it, burrowing into the earth in all directions. This is the monster's true form. Its origin, its power. Floating before the heart, suspended by delicate glowing tendrils, are figures, dozens of them. Werewolves, dogmen, even what look like early human settlers, their bodies perfectly preserved, eyes milky and staring, yet subtly moving, as if in a shared dream. The Bloodroot's collection, its choir, welcome, marked one. Welcome to the Nexus, to the eternal bloom. They are all here, all part of the song, waiting for your voice to complete the harmony. The horrifying reveal is complete. This is not just a mindless infection. It's a conscious entity, a collector of essences, a weaver of a shared monstrous consciousness. The sheer scale of its influence, its ancient power, creates a profound moment of hopelessness. Suddenly, from the shadows of the chamber, the echo alpha from the forest emerges. It's even more terrifying up close. A hulking brute of a werewolf, ancient and scarred, its fur matted with dried blood and new crimson root growths. Its eyes are twin embers of pure rage, entirely controlled by the bloodroot. The final guardian, the ultimate test. A legend of the werewolf versus dogman conflicts. Now a slave to the cryptid mutation, a champion of the ancestral bloodline horror, remade. The Echo Alpha roars, a sound that shakes the very foundations of the chamber and charges. Ilara meets its fury, her spear finding chinks in its corrupted hide. But she's like a terrier against a bear. Jack is frozen for a moment, not by fear, but by the overwhelming psychic pressure from the bloodroot heart. It's showing him visions, the end of war. A unified world of cryptids and perhaps even humans, all living in harmony under its benevolent crimson guidance. A world where there is no pain, no loss, only connection. A corrupted legacy transformed into a twisted utopia. See? Peace, unity. An end to the suffering your kind has inflicted upon this world and upon each other. All it requires is your submission, your ascension. Become our vessel, our king, our god. The visual hook promised earlier materializes. Jack's shadow, cast by the pulsating light of the heart, flickers and splits. One silhouette is manlike, another distinctly werewolf, a third something more canine like a dogman, and a fourth, a new shadow, vast and thorny, like the bloodroot itself. His eyes flare, one amber, one red, both burning with an unholy light. He is the hybrid horror monster caught between worlds. The Echo Alpha swats Ilara aside. She crumples, unconscious or worse. The sight of Ilara falling breaks through the bloodroot's psychic assault. A different rage, a human rage, surges through Jack. The emotional weight of his journey, the loss, the betrayal, it all coalesces. Jack screamed, "No!" He charges the Echo Alpha. The fight is cataclysmic. It's not just werewolf against werewolf. It's Jack's fractured, evolving nature against a perversion of his own heritage. He uses the brute strength of his werewolf form, the cunning he still retains as a man, and the new terrifying power of the bloodroot infection itself. His transformed arm acts as both weapon and shield, roots lashing out, hardening to deflect blows. He drives a root-sharpened forearm through the Echo Alpha's chest. The creature howls, a sound of agony and surprise, then collapses, dissolving into a shower of red spores and withered vines. Jack stands panting over the remains, the bloodroot heart pulsing faster, its whispers now laced with fury and hunger. You resist? You would deny paradise? Then you will be unmade. Your essence will be stripped, your form broken, You will become less than an echo. Tendrils erupt from the heart, lashing towards Jack. He is outmatched by the sheer scale of this entity. This is the moment of catharsis or total despair. He is, after all, still an infected survivor. He knows he cannot destroy it through brute force, but Ilara's words echo. Sever the root's hold, and the journal. The root whispers of union. He looks at his own transformed arm, at the crimson energy flowing within him. He is connected to it, a part of it. Instead of fighting the tendrils, Jack plunges his transformed arm deep into the pulsating mass of the Bloodroot heart. The heart screams, a psychic shockwave that blasts through the chamber. Traitor, parasite, what are you doing? Jack's voice strained, eyes blazing with his dual-colored light, says, I am choosing not to sever, not to submit, but to change the song. The red light within Jack, within his arm, intensifies, but it begins to shift. Flecks of gold, of pure white, begin to mix with the crimson. He is not just a conduit, he is a filter, a mutator. The theme, the past infects the present until one chooses to sever or submit, is given a third option to transform the infection itself. The Bloodroot heart convulses. The red light throughout the chamber flickers, dims. The captured figures stir, a low moan escaping their collective lips. The chamber is filled with an unearthly cacophony, the shrieking of the Bloodroot heart, the groans of the awakened captives, and Jack's own agonized cries as energies course through him. His body convulses, the transformation accelerating, but now guided by his will, not the roots. The hybrid horror monster is being forged in a crucible of choice. Blood begets transformation, but will, true will, can redirect its course. He sought not to destroy the power, but to reclaim it, to purify the corrupted legacy it represented, a desperate, impossible gamble. The crimson light of the Bloodroot heart dims further, faltering, being absorbed, changed. The pulsating roots throughout the chamber wither slightly, their glow fading to a dull, bruised purple. The captured figures slump, the light in their eyes extinguishing, but this time it feels like release, not death. Their long nightmare ends. Jack rips his arm free. The heart lets out one final, shuddering sigh and then goes dark and still. The oppressive, psychic pressure vanishes. Silence, true silence, descends for the first time. He collapses, his transformed arm no longer glowing aggressively red, but a muted bark-like brown interwoven with faint silver veins. His other arm remains human, his eyes. They still hold, a hint of the dual colors, but the feral intensity is banked, replaced by an immense weariness and a profound ancient wisdom. Ilara groans, stirring. She pushes herself up, looking around in disbelief. Ilara calls for Jack. What did you do? Jack looks at his hands, then at the inert heart. Jack says, I don't know. I didn't destroy it. I think I put it to sleep, or changed it. The whispers, they're gone. The unease remains, but the immediate dread has lifted. The forest above will still be scarred, perhaps still dangerous. The Hollowborn may still wander, their connection severed but their bodies corrupted. But the source, the sentient, driving will of the fungal horror is quiescent. He chose neither to sever nor submit fully, but to integrate, to transform the monstrous inheritance. He did not become the Bloodroot's god, nor did he entirely escape its mark. He became something new, a guardian born of the werewolf curse, the Dogman's tenacity, and the Earth's ancient power. A true hybrid beast story has found its unique protagonist. The lycanthrope infection has become something else. A symbiosis, perhaps, a precarious balance. They help each other from the chamber, emerging from the haunted forest church into a pre-dawn gray. The oppressive red glow in the scorched pine forest is gone. The air feels cleaner, though still heavy with the scent of ash and damp earth. The mutated fungi are still there, but their light is dim, almost natural. The Wisconsin legends will need a new chapter. The war of Werewolf versus Dogman ended, only to birth a new kind of conflict, a new kind of guardian. Jack is no longer just an infected survivor. He is a warden of a dangerous peace, his loss of identity culminating in a new, complex one. The ancestral guilt might linger, but now there is purpose. Maybe now you understand the whispers, or perhaps you think this is just another cryptid horror story. But the roots run deep, deeper than you can imagine. They felt your attention, you know? They saw you listening. Return to these woods if you dare, before the next blood moon horror awakens what slumbers. Or don't. The forest remembers every soul that brushes against its darkness, and it's always hungry for new songs. And for those who hunger for more, step deeper into the shadows with our ultimate werewolf horror playlist, linked in the description below. In the world of horror, the scariest things happen when you least expect them, and trust me, you don't want to be left in the dark. Welcome to the darkness.